Chosen one, broke to billionaire, begins now. The shift already started. You are not broke because you lack talent. You are not broke because you lack intelligence, work ethic, or deserving. You are not broke because the universe forgot you, or because your time simply hasn't come yet in some distant theoretical future. You are broke because of a story. One specific, deeply embedded, thoroughly rehearsed story about what is financially possible for a person like you. A story so old you've stopped questioning whether it's true. A story so familiar it stopped feeling like a story and started feeling like reality. And here is the most urgent thing I will say today. That story ended the moment you found this message. Not because I'm about to give you a strategy or a system or a 5-step plan, but because something in you, something that has been building beneath the surface of everything you've been living through, has finally reached the moment of breaking through. The shift from broke to billionaire is already happening, not coming, happening, right now, inside you, in this moment, whether you can feel it clearly or not. The problem, what broke really steals from you. Let me be honest about what broke actually takes from a person. Not the obvious things, the bills, the stress, the logistics of survival. The thing broke really steals is your permission to dream at full size. You started shrinking your vision somewhere along the way. You stopped letting yourself want what you actually want, because wanting things that feel out of reach is its own kind of pain. So you made the wants smaller, more reasonable, more survivable if they don't arrive. And in that shrinking, in that quiet, self-protective reduction of what you allow yourself to believe is possible, you've been living as a fraction of who you were always meant to be. The exhaustion you feel isn't just financial. It's the exhaustion of carrying a full-sized destiny in a shrunken container, of being built for something vast and living in something small. That exhaustion is about to have a reason. Because the container is getting ready to break. The broke to billionaire journey starts in the mind, not the market. Every person who ever made the journey from nothing to extraordinary wealth tells the same story when they get honest about the beginning. It didn't start with the right opportunity. It didn't start with the perfect timing or the essential connection or the market condition that made everything possible. It started with a decision made in private, a quiet, unremarkable, nobody-was-watching moment where they chose firmly, finally, without waiting for permission from their circumstances, to stop identifying as someone for whom wealth was impossible and start inhabiting the identity of someone for whom wealth was inevitable. That decision is the actual starting line. Everything else, the strategies, the connections, the opportunities, comes after it and flows toward it. You are standing at that starting line right now. The decision is available to you today, in this moment, in the specific circumstances you're currently living through. You do not need to wait for things to improve before you make it. Make it now, in the difficulty, in the uncertainty, in the middle of the struggle that makes it feel premature. The billionaire journey always starts before it looks like it should. Why you were broke, the hidden architecture of financial limitation, the broke pattern in your life was not accidental. It was constructed, piece by piece, through experiences and environments and inherited beliefs. A specific financial architecture was built around you, one that was sized for limitation rather than expansion. You absorbed it from the financial atmosphere of your earliest years, from the conversations that happened around money in your home, the tension, the scarcity, the unspoken rules about what was possible for people who came from where you came from. You internalized it from the relationships that surrounded your developing identity, the community that normalized struggle as permanent, the voices that called your ambition naive, the repeated pattern of seeing the people who looked like you cap out at a certain level, and the subconscious lesson that absorbed, this is the ceiling. That architecture is real. It has been running your financial decisions quietly, below the level of conscious awareness for your entire adult life. But here is what the people who installed it never told you. Architecture can be demolished. The ceiling was never a law. It was a belief. And beliefs, unlike laws, can be changed the moment you decide to change them. The specific moment the shift begins, what it actually feels like, the shift from broke to billionaire, doesn't feel like a lightning bolt. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or a dramatic sign that says, "Here it is, this is the moment." It feels quiet, almost uncomfortably ordinary. It feels like a morning where something inside you, some frequency, some orientation is slightly different than it was the morning before. Not better circumstances, a different relationship to the circumstances. It feels like the anxiety that used to sit in your chest around money losing some of its grip, not because the money arrived, but because some deeper part of you has stopped treating the current financial position as the permanent truth about your life. It feels like the vision coming into slightly sharper focus. Not the how is still unclear, but the what and the why becoming more solid, more real, less like a fantasy and more like something that is simply in the process of becoming visible. That feeling, however subtle, however easy to dismiss, is the shift announcing itself. And if you're honest with yourself right now, you've been feeling something like it lately. That is not coincidence. That is the shift. Already started, already real. Already building momentum beneath the surface of everything your circumstances are still showing you. The one thing that separates those who make it from those who don't this is the insight that changes everything when it genuinely lands. The difference between the person who goes broke to billionaire and the person who stays in the broke season indefinitely is not intelligence. It is not talent, timing, resources, or even effort. It is the capacity to hold the vision with unwavering conviction through the longest, darkest, most contradicting stretch of the journey, the stretch where every piece of external evidence says the dream is not working, not real, not for someone like you, and to keep moving anyway, not blindly. Not in denial of reality, but with a faith that is rooted below the level of visible evidence, a faith that says, I know what I'm building, I know why I was given this vision, and no season of contradiction is long enough or severe enough to make me release what I know is true. Every person who made it to the billionaire level has a story of that stretch. The season where stopping was the only logical option, and they chose the illogical thing instead. You are in that stretch right now, and the fact that you haven't stopped, that you're here, still seeking, still believing, still investing attention in the destination means you are already doing the one thing that separates the ones who make it. Keep doing it. The revenue that's been sitting in your blind spot here is something practical and immediate that I need you to hear. There is money available to you right now, not in the future, not when everything is aligned, right now that you have not claimed, because it lives in a blind spot you haven't fully explored yet. It lives in the gap between the actual value of what you know and do and the amount you have been charging or receiving for it. Most chosen ones in the broke season are chronically undercharging for their gifts, not because the market won't pay more, because the internal sense of worth hasn't yet aligned with the external value of what they deliver. The market is ready to pay more than you've been asking. The question is whether you are ready to ask. Raise one price today, not tomorrow. Not when you feel more confident. Today, while the resistance is still loud, and the fear is still real and asking feels like overreaching. That single act, raising one price while everything in you says it's too soon, is one of the most powerful declarations of financial identity shift available to you right now. Make the declaration. Building the bridge from where you are to where you're going, the broke to billionaire journey is not a leap. It is a bridge, built plank by plank, decision by decision, day by day. And the bridge has a specific architecture that the people who successfully cross it understand. The first plank is clarity, a specific, written, non-negotiable definition of the destination, not a vague desire for more money. A precise picture of what the financial life you're building looks like, down to the numbers, the lifestyle, the impact, and the timeline. The second plank is one primary revenue vehicle, not 5 simultaneous business ideas, not a scattershot of opportunities. One clear, specific, fully committed path of income that you develop to its full potential before adding complexity. The third plank is consistent daily action on that vehicle, not occasional inspired bursts followed by long stretches of planning and preparation. Daily, imperfect, unglamorous. Showing up for the income-producing activity before everything else makes its claim on your time. And the fourth plank is community with people who are either where you're going or actively building toward it, because the environment shapes the expectation. And the expectation shapes the outcome, and you cannot afford the specific tax of spending all your time in environments where your vision is the largest thing in the room. Build the bridge, one plank at a time. The other side is reachable, but only by those who build, not by those who wait to feel ready. The generational weight you're carrying, and why you were chosen to break it there is. Something larger happening in your financial journey than a personal story of success. You are not just trying to build wealth for yourself. You are carrying the accumulated financial story of everyone who came before you, every generation that worked hard and stayed small. That built for others and had little left to build for themselves. That sacrificed and survived without ever fully arriving at the life their sacrifice deserved. You are the one in your line who breaks the pattern. Not by accident, by assignment. The reason the vision in you is so persistent, the reason it has survived everything that should have extinguished it, is because it wasn't placed in you for your benefit alone. It was placed in you because your specific life, your specific gifts, your specific story of going from broke to something extraordinary was needed as a testimony, as proof, as the beginning of a new financial chapter for everyone who comes after you. This is why the struggle has been so targeted. The thing that comes against you was never just against your financial comfort. It was against the generational shift your breakthrough represents. But it hasn't worked. You are still here. The vision is still alive. And the broken season that was supposed to be the whole story has become, instead, the opening chapter of something that will outlast you. Carry that. Let it give you the strength that personal ambition alone cannot sustain. Let me say one final thing, not a motivational phrase, a truth. The person reading this today is not the person who will be reading this message a year from now, not because the circumstances will have magically transformed, but because the identity that is shifting in you right now, the one that is releasing the broke story and inhabiting the billionaire, trajectory is not going back. Identity shifts, once genuine, are irreversible. You cannot unknow what you now know about yourself. The broke season served its purpose. It built what comfort could not have built. It produced the depth, the discernment, the resilience, the specific unbreakable quality of someone who survived the fire and emerged not diminished but refined. That refinement is what wealth requires to be sustained, and you have it. The shift has already started. The journey is already underway. The story that began in lack is moving right now, in this moment, beneath the surface of every circumstance that hasn't caught up yet toward the ending that was written for it before you were born. Broke to billionaire. Not someday. Now. Starting with the next decision you make from the identity of who you're becoming rather than who you've been. Make it count.